find career stability and his frustration with repeatedly being typecast as gangsters or drug dealers. Ryan needed a change. No, he needed to take control of his life again. So along with 3 other budding actors, he set up his own company, Nouveau Riche, to create the stories and characters they wanted to share with the world.
For the first 18 months, we didn't make no money, no nothing, but it was the first time in my life that I actually was feeling fulfilled as an artist, and I had a full-time job. The fact that I could express myself in whichever way I wanted to. If I wanted my character to be from Botswana, then he could be from Botswana. And if I wanted my character to have a backstory, I could write that backstory. And all of the things that were frustrating me as an artist and as an actor, I could fulfill them. I could create worlds. Me meeting up with these guys, we were meeting up every evening, on the weekends, and just getting this time to jam creatively. There was no expectation of, this needs to be the next big, massive play or next film or whatever. We're just jamming. And then out of that, we created a play called Queens of Sheba. It was about black women and misogyny, this melting point between race and misogyny, and it felt so current. This is like a year before the Me Too movement, so there was a bubbling happening, right? Women were taking agency and being like, how do we speak about our experiences? And what we were doing as a company is we were looking at a way to be able to do that where the focus is on these 4 black women. And what also helped is the fact that we actually didn't have the resources to do anything further than that. So there were no lights, there were no stage, there was nothing. It was just these monologues we cut up and spliced back together with these 4 actors that we knew. No money at all. All the actors were our friends, everybody we knew. We put money together to go to Edinburgh. But it cost a lot of money to take a play to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So Ryan decided to put on a show to raise the funds. I had an idea of, if we charge people £10 to come to a show and you don't know who the writer is or the performers, they're not gonna come. So I said, look, everybody come to the show free. But if you enjoy what you see, start putting your hands in your pockets. So we were doing a little raffle and we had just got our play published. One of the girls worked in a perfume shop, so she said, I'll bring some perfume for the raffle. Somebody worked in a cake shop, I'll bring a cake. But it became so erratic in this place where everybody was so excited and wanted to be part of what this could possibly be. I remember someone took like a piece of paper out of their pocket and was like, all right, for this for £50. I was like, £50 sold. And then we had the tray and we bought all the raffle stuff on it and we were like, we'll raffle the tray. And they were like, yeah, £100 for the tray. Like, everyone was crazy. They were just like, we'll buy all the books. We sold every book. They were like, we want a signed book, we want photos.
Everything was
so exciting. They were just like, you're really gonna take this piece that speaks to us, our community, to the big world stage. We need to be part of that. And we raised an extra like £3,000 that night. And we went up there and we were on the list of the hottest shows in Edinburgh. We won the Edinburgh Stage Award and we gained like thousands of followers. Everybody wanted to know who these new kids were. And that was the beginning of sustainability within the company. Arts Council then began to go, okay, who are these guys? They're interesting. And every kind of theatre company was like, okay, what you got next?
So it kind of put you on the map then, really?
Put us on the map. TV companies, we got our first TV commission. It really, really put us on the map. The next part of my career is about to take off, and I felt like that, and I spoke to my agent and I said, I want to leave this full-time job at this particular time, I want to do this. And she was like, okay, I can't guarantee that work's going to be there, but the phone is ringing for you right now. And it was ringing for me, I had 5 projects lined up back to back, and I'm like, great. And then this thing called COVID happens. We lived through swine flu, bird flu, all these flus. So I thought it was another one of these, that was going to be a couple of weeks, and then the months roll past, and you realize that this is not going away. It's getting worse. And I remember by like the 10th month of the year, I was broke. Nothing's happening. I've got a family, and at that time as well, my landlord, they decided that they were going to sell the property. So we were now given a notice. 11 months from being in what you consider to be the best place you've ever been in your life to being homeless. I feel like I'm in the middle of depression, anxiety, and I'm also looking around at friends and family that have been away from everybody for the last year and a half right now, and I'm seeing it really, really affect young black men who, again, are in a position like I was, unable to communicate how they're feeling. So they're suffering in silence, and I've had this idea about this play for the last couple of years, but I just don't know what the angle is.
I know that you said that people who weren't able to communicate like you did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're doing it creatively through like your words and your work.
Yeah.
Were you communicating what you were feeling on a day-to-day basis with people around you?
Not so. Do you know, I'm still terrible at doing it now. I feel like in order to get to a place where I'm even comfortable enough sharing that through my art, that comes from the relationship that I have with my wife. When you share a whole entire world, you share a whole entire life with somebody, it's impossible to give that person the best of you and for them not to take all of you, right? So I've constantly been forced into positions where I've learned new ways of being able to articulate myself. And then also looking at my sons and going, I don't want them to be like this. So I'm also having to find ways to let them know how much I care about them, and to tell them that I love them, to give them a cuddle, which is something that I didn't grow up around that, you know, life's tough kind of thing, you know, get on with things. So through articulating stuff from my work and also the relationship I have with my, you know, my family has helped me. And also the guys that I move with from church, man. It's interesting, you know, when I pick up the phone to my brothers, you know, it starts with, how you doing, bro? And it ends with, I love you, bro, just know that I love you. And it was like, I remember speaking to men and being like, when was the last time another man has said to you, I love you? You might say the closest you'll get is someone go, love, 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 love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, I love you.
It wasn't like fully all the way there.
No, we're subjected to articulate ourselves in a certain kind of way. If somebody makes me feel a kind of way and I punch a wall, I punch someone's face, then that's accepted where I'm from. But if I was able to talk to somebody about how they made me feel or what my heart feels like, then that's seen as soft. And I was like, but that's what I was just talking about in terms of humanity, that he wasn't deserving of that because he was black and had a hood on, which means something completely different. But that's me, I'm Trayvon. And I got children and they Trayvon too. And I was like, does that mean that I'm putty in your hand? Does that mean that if you don't like the way that I look or I speak or the way that I walk, that I should be locked up or shot or killed? You know, I was like, how do we also tap into that narrative for society to know, but more internally for young black men to know that that's not your fate, that you are more than that. You're more than what they say you are. And I was like, this project's gonna go really cut into the complexities of what it means to be young, black, and alive right now. And hopefully it can keep a lot more of us alive.
I guess for you as a creative and as a writer, your thing is to create worlds.
Yeah.
So when you're faced with something like that, I guess your next thing is to create a world, and the next one that you did touched precisely on that,
exactly,
which is for Black Boys. Tell me about that project and how those sort of themes feature in there.
I read For Colored Girls by Ntozake Shange when I was at school. You know, it was the first text by a black writer that I'd come across that spoke to me in a different kind of way. The way that she kind of spliced verse and prose and poetry and movement and dance to be able to create this kind of visual language. And I was like, I didn't know you were allowed to do that. And it felt like it made so much sense to me because of what she was trying to articulate. You just couldn't articulate that in a normal type of 5-act structure. It didn't need a structure. It was so bold. And then after that, I read about how it made black women feel in 1970s America. And I was like, man, this is a community that now believes that now feel as though they are heard, you know, and that they are seen, and that this play speaks to them directly because it says them and it suggests this in the title. You know, since then I've been like, I wonder if there could be something similar for young black boys in the UK that I know are suffering. And I've always been quite frightened to touch it or to kind of get into that realm. But during that pandemic, seeing young men that look like me suffer in silence and knowing that we've never ever had the space to have these kind of conversations before, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna get to work.
Could you give a little bit of a description of what that play is and how you set up that conversation to be told?
The premise is really, really simple. It's 6 young black boys go for group therapy. You know, the way that I always described it on all the advertisements was it was going to be a black boy fantasia. What would it be like if, you know, when I read comic books and I wanted to be a superhero, I was able to articulate that to my friends? What would it be like if when I got that first and second heartbreak, I was able to open up and really speak about that rather than holding it in and resenting young women, you know? And we set that up with bright colors, you know, and the set almost looked like a playground because most of us had to grow up really, really quick. What does it mean if we can get that humanity back? And would that give us a different level of hope for our future? that was the kind of premise, and we use song, we use dance, we use rap, we use prose, we use poetry. It was like, I'm gonna show you everything that's wonderful about being a young black boy, so that you don't ever have to look at us and degrade us to being black in the hood. You know, there's so much to us. We're incredible, and I was like, let's showcase that. Let's see what happens. It's either gonna be a masterpiece or a mess.
Can you take me to that opening night
Yeah,
at the Royal Court?
at the Royal Court.
What's it like to be Ryan?
I was really anxious because I was like, is it too much too soon? Am I ready? All the stuff that's in my head, am I going to be able to articulate it the way that I want it to be? Are they going to feel the things that I want them to feel as an audience, you know? I couldn't tell you I was at peace. I'll be lying to say that.
Nerves on the opening night, it feels fairly acceptable.
Exactly. And because of the way the form of the play as well, like, there's nothing to tell us that it works other than a reaction from an audience. Do you know what I mean? We could have got it completely wrong.
And what was the reaction?
Like instant standing ovation. I saw people cry, need fresh air, and I saw people confronted with their own realities. It was a moment where you realize that you had created something that you had never seen or felt before. And the atmosphere was charged from the beginning, you know? Something I always said, when I was growing up, the Royal Court was one of my favorite theaters, but I never felt comfortable enough to stay there. It didn't necessarily feel like it was for someone like me. And I feel like there's a difference when you invite somebody into a space and you tell somebody that this space is theirs. And I was like, because, you know, it does say 4 black boys in massive, massive neon lights outside. How do we create a space where young black people feel as though